Mine appellation is Adam. In the bloom of my 28th year, I hath recently donned the cap of a healer, having completed my studies in the noble art of medicine but a month past. At the pinnacle of my scholarly pursuits. Verily, I ought to have felt as though I stood upon the pinnacle of existence, adorned in my cap and gown, diploma clasped within my grasp. Yet, when mine eyes did gaze upon the hallowed seats I had procured for mine kin, 12 cushioned thrones adorned with gilded names, I beheld naught but vacant chairs. Not a single soul did grace the gathering. Neither my mother, nor my stepfather, nor my younger sister, nor even my Aunt Cathy, who did vow with fervent heart that she would not forsake it for any reason. Strange it is, how all hath unfolded into a grand carnival voyage to the fair Bahamas. Pray, allow me to retrace my steps. In sooth, I came not from a lineage that doth exalt the triumphs of learning. If thou didst return with a report of straight A's, thou wert either striving with great fervor or causing all others to feel most foolish. Such was the demeanor. My mother oft did utter words akin to, "No soul doth favor a braggart, Adam," when I returned home bearing a flawless report card. Or, "Pray tell, Mr. Smarty Pants, dost thou now consider thyself superior to us?" When I did speak of my aspirations to don the mantle of a physician one day, and it was not solely her sentiment. My stepfather, Gary, whom I do declare was the most boisterous soul in any gathering, yet possessed naught but trifles to utter, oft did jest, "I place no faith in a man who cannot tend to his own oil." In his gaze, the realm of medicine was but a matter of tomes and texts. And lo, the tomes and scrolls are but the refuge of those who find themselves ill-equipped to grapple with the harshness of reality. Yet I felt no concern. I didst possess a stubborn heart. I did apply mine utmost diligence, as though mine very existence hung in the balance. Upon mine entrance into the realm of medicine, bestowed with a scholarship's grace, I did not anticipate a grand procession or any such fanfare. Yet I did ponder, perchance, they would hold pride within their hearts. Yet my mother did inquire why I did not choose the path of a nurse, akin to the daughter of her esteemed friend. Though it be of lesser length, thou still don the garb of scrubs. Yet I did strive. Through the passage of time, I did extend mine invitations to them for moments of great import, the ceremony of the white coat, the day of clerkship match, and the interviews for residency. Each occasion doth mirror the last, for flights are ever too costly, or a multitude of matters doth occupy our week, or perchance thou art aware of Gary's sentiments towards grand metropolises. After a time, I ceased my relentless endeavor. Upon dispatching tidings through the familial gathering of words, I oft encounter a void of sound, save for the rarefied gesture of approval from my younger sister, the sole spirit untainted by the weariness that envelopes the rest. Yet, the day of graduation was meant to unfold in a manner most distinct. This matter doth not solely concern mine own self. It was the zenith of all endeavors. 8 long years of unceasing toil. Through the veil of night, I toiled, whilst the world celebrated in merriment and sorrow, forsaking the joys of birthdays and the solemnity of farewells. In mine own chariot of steel, I have oft found slumber more times than I wish to confess, for the coin to secure both shelter and fuel eluded my grasp. Thus, when fortune did bestow upon me a residency offer from a most esteemed hospital, and I learned that I was to deliver a speech at the grand ceremony, I resolved to embrace the occasion with fervor and zeal. With mine own savings, a sum of $12,000, I did procure the passage for all to journey hither. Tickets of the finest class for my dear mother and Gary, a suite of splendid comfort near the campus, graced with a view of the tranquil lake, reservations for a feast most exquisite, and bespoke programs wherein their names shall be inscribed as honored guests. In sooth, I did summon a florist to craft centerpieces adorned in hues most cherished by my dear mother. I did envision her eyes welling with tears upon the sight of my name inscribed within the program. In my mind's eye, I beheld her uttering words of pride, perchance for the very first time in the span of my grown years. On the eve of the grand ceremony, I didst make a call to affirm their flights. Alas, no response doth come forth. I sent forth no missive. Upon that eve, as I did peruse my oration for the 100th time, mine device did illuminate with a glow. Lo, the missive didst arrive from mine own mother. Good Adam, we shan't be making our presence known. To witness thee don the guise of a healer doth seem a torment most profound. We hath secured a passage upon a grand vessel instead. revel in thy fleeting pretense. Then came a missive from Aunt Cathy, the fair lady who once declared that I was akin to a son in her heart. We would fain be in a realm most worthy of our joyous revelry. Thou art aware of the tedium that doth accompany such matters. No contrition, no faltering, merely that. Mine eyes did gaze upon the glowing screen for such an age that the brightness did sear my very sight. I did not shed a tear. I did not let forth a cry. Mine hand did not cast forth my device. There I sat, mine eyes wide, gazing upon their utterances, as a silent fracture within me did softly rend. Upon the morrow's light, I took my place upon the stage, and delivered mine oration. Lo, the crowd did applaud. With a gentle curve of my lips, I did smile. Yet, throughout the span of time, mine eyes did wander evermore to those seats in the foremost row. Those fair and sumptuous chairs, lined with velvet soft, bear the names of souls who deemed me unworthy of their journey hither. Individuals who hath devoted their every breath to diminish mine essence to their own meagre stature. As the evening waned, following the grand repast and the capturing of likenesses, after I had clasped hands and inscribed tokens, and bestowed embraces upon comrades and mentors whose encouragement held greater weight than they could fathom, I entered my chamber, sealed the portal, and at last permitted my heart to embrace the truth of my emotions. Not merely the wound, but the treachery, the shame, the torment of realizing that I had bestowed upon my kin this wondrous moment upon a gleaming dish, only for them to cast it into the abyss. I did not respond to the missives sent forth. Upon receiving my mother's light-hearted missive, I did not return her call, though 2 days had passed since her gentle inquiry, "Hope it went well. Send pics if you can." Instead, I resolved upon 2 courses of action. Firstly, I did beseech the university to craft a second ceremonial copy of mine diploma. With great care, I procured a frame of ebony hue, adorned it in gilded parchment, and dispatched it to my mother's abode, accompanied by a printed likeness, 8 by 10 in measure, depicting those 12 vacant seats, arranged with precision beneath a banner that proclaimed, "Reserved for the family of Dr. O. Adam," or perchance a second thought, I did enact yet another alteration, one that none could foresee. Yet, I shall reveal it in due course, for lo, 3 hours hence the parcel did arrive at my mother's abode, and my device did buzz with fervor, calls, texts, and voicemails aplenty. One from Gary, who did declare, "Thou art being dramatic, child." Another from my kin, who lamented, "This is beyond petty." Yet it was my mother's voice, trembling and choked with sorrow, that didst cause me to pause, as she implored, "Please." Alas, I knew not that such pain would befall thee. I believed thou wert aware that our jests were but trifles. I beseech thee, call upon me. I implore thee. I did not heed the entirety of the message left, halting mine ears at the moment she uttered, "We did not think it would matter so greatly, and that was sufficient." That solitary phrase, so ignorant, so achingly dismissive, revealed to me all that I required to comprehend. They remain in ignorance, as ever they have. Thus, I chose not to return her call, nor did I reply to any of their entreaties. Instead, I silenced my device and took my seat in solitude at the kitchen table, perusing the printed likeness I had captured ere the ceremony commenced. 12 vacant chairs stood in a flawless line, their names affixed to the backrest, akin to a jest unfulfilled. In that moment, I didst open mine laptop, gain access to mine bank account, and commence to make alterations. Forsooth, a portion of the reason I couldst afford to summon them all in first class, no less, was due to a humble inheritance bestowed upon me by my grandmother. She did depart this mortal coil whilst I was in mine 2nd year of medical studies. She was not of great fortune, nay, not by any measure, yet she bestowed upon me the sum of $60,000 in a shared account, to which my name was inscribed upon my coming of age at 18. Oft would she impart, "Let not this treasure be squandered on trifles or debts. Employ it when the hour is ripe to undertake that which holds significance." Thus, in the span of 2 years past, I did draw upon it with great caution. A modest share did indeed assuage a fragment of my rent during my inaugural sojourn in the realm of healing. Another portion did I allocate for flights to seek interviews. Yet the grandest sum I preserved, with purpose noble, to forge something of worth, something upon which I could construct. I had begun to envision the establishment of a modest clinic in realms neglected, perhaps dedicating weeks to serve in neighborhoods of lesser means. Though it was but a humble start, the seeds of fortune were sown. Unbeknownst to my kin, my grandmother, in her final testament, had sought to divide her legacy thrice, betwixt myself, my mother, and my aunt. Yet, a year ere her passing, having witnessed the manner in which my mother did treat me during a festive gathering, her heart did change. She hath but rewritten the scrolls, purged their names, and entrusted the entirety unto me. Thou art the sole soul in whom I place my trust to wield it wisely. She did declare, they shall but squander it. And lo, here lies the twist. For the account, established in jointure with my mother in the days of my youth, she did mistakenly presume still granted her access. Indeed, for many moons hath she proclaimed to the world that upon Adam's ascension to the noble profession of healer, we would embark upon the long-awaited transformation of our kitchen. Yet, I paid little heed to her words until, through the whispers of my cousin, I learned that my mother and Gary had summoned a contractor to grace us with his presence in the very week of my graduation. Alas, that contractor did not appear. What foul play was this? For upon my return from the joyous celebration of my graduation, I did transfer every last coin from that account into a new vessel, one solely in mine own name. The old account I did close forevermore. Then, forsooth, I did bestow a portion of what remained unto the very clinic I aspire to join in future days. I sent forth a missive bearing my name and the likeness of my graduation. I reasoned that if mine own kin would not gather to honor my triumph, I might yet employ the remnants of my fortune to aid another in their quest for victory. It was not long ere the calls did commence anew. In this moment, their sorrow transformed into wrath, a tempest of fury. Gary, the first to summon me, did so with a voice raised in ire. That account belongs to thy mother, he declared. Her name hath graced it since thy youth. Those funds were destined for our kin. Yet I stood unmoved. Thou art correct, I replied. It was indeed intended for the family. Yet, methinks thou hast chosen a voyage upon the sea to be of greater import than the kin who rendered such a journey feasible. Click. Then didst arrive Aunt Cathy, her voice a tempest of incredulity within the message left behind. Dost thou grasp the weight of thine actions? Thy mother is in a state of utter despair. We did not ponder. That refrain echoed through their words. We did not ponder. We did not ponder. We did not ponder. Indeed, they did not ponder. Not upon the weight of standing solitary at the grandest juncture of mine existence. Not upon the toil of countless coins spent to craft a moment of significance, only for them to dismiss it as if I were but a child in fanciful attire. They failed to consider the years of labor I had invested, the pride that ought to have swelled within me, or the little lad who still yearned to hear the words, "We take pride in thee." Instead, I was met with naught but silence, followed by derision, and then disappointment, all cloaked in a shroud of entitlement. Thus, I felt no remorse in closing that door. I harbored no regret in dispatching that diploma alongside the image of their vacant seats. And verily, I felt no regret for my subsequent action, for the third deed I undertook, the final act, was to alter the beneficiary upon all my accounts, legal and medical scrolls, emergency contacts, the entirety of it. I bestowed that honor upon another. My dearest companion Marcus, who didst keep vigil with me through the long, arduous nights of examination, and who didst conduct mock interviews on his days of respite, who didst traverse the vast expanse of our fair land, donned in a suit of his own making, and didst present himself at the graduation, bearing a placard that proclaimed, "Proud of my brother, Dr. Adam R." I didst treat him to a feast on the eve following the ceremony, and bestowed upon him a sealed missive. Within the confines lay a parchment of legal decree. He didst blink upon it. What dost this signify? I did smile. 'Tis I, selecting mine true kin. He spake not a word, but remained there in silence, clutching the envelope, his eyes tinged with crimson. Meanwhile, my mother did persist in her calls. She left one final missive, her voice trembling, a tempest of ire and sorrow entwined. Dost thou believe that wealth doth elevate thee above us? Dost thou think thy modest degree doth sever thy ties to thine origins? We remain thy kin, Adam, regardless of the distance thou dost place betwixt us. Yet she was mistaken. Family is not merely the blood that courses through thy veins, nor is it solely those who nurture thee. It is rather those who stand steadfast by thy side in times of want, and who cheer the loudest when thou dost finally possess something worthy to display. And above all, 'tis those who linger when the radiant beams dost shine upon thee. They vanished into the ether. Thus, I pressed onward. It was upon a Thursday eve, a fortnight post-graduation, when I did hear the rap upon the door. I had but just returned from a gathering of orientation for my residency. Clad in my white coat, the stethoscope hung about my neck, a declaration no longer needing utterance. In mine abode, a tranquil hush did reign, warmed by the fragrant essence of the repast I had just laid bare. Forsooth, after what seemed an eternity, I found myself yearning for a serene eve in solitude. Yet lo! A knock did sound. Not with great force, nor with urgency, but with a certain assurance, as if the knocker believed themselves entitled to entrance. I did part the door but halfway, and there stood she, my mother. Her tresses, tousled by the tempest, adorned her visage, which bore the hue of the rose, wrought by either the gales or the ire, most likely a blend of both. Behind her, in a stance most uncomfortable upon the threshold, stood Gary, his arms entwined, his gaze traversing the corridor as though he awaited the sudden appearance of sentinels. My heart sank, yet I remained still, my tongue held captive. My mother regarded me with a blink, and for a fleeting instant it seemed as though she beheld not her own progeny. Perchance it was the garment or the stillness that enveloped us, or the manner in which I refrained from widening the portal as I once did, in days of yore when I sought but a fragment of her esteem. She did clear her throat, and with a voice both firm and gentle, inquired, "Adam, may we enter?" I did incline my head, posing the query, "Why?" Her countenance shifted, startled as though the very question bore offense. "For we must converse in seclusion, face to face," she declared. Upon the threshold I did stand, a barrier to the passage. Such a deed might have been wrought 2 weeks past at the ceremony of our graduation. Gary did scoff. "Pray, dost thou still cling to that grievance? 'Tis not as if we did not offer our congratulations." "Nay," I replied with a measured calm. "Thou didst mock me, then chose a feast of the Caribbean over attending thine own progeny's moment of triumph." My mother's gaze ignited with ire. "Such a judgment is unjust. Thou didst not grant us the grace of time to elucidate our plight." I did raise an eyebrow in disbelief. "Thou didst dispatch a missive that proclaimed, 'To behold thee feign the role of a healer doth seem a torment most profound.' What, prithee, was I meant to await?" The jest's conclusion. Gary did advance then, his voice ascending. "Thou art being small-minded. That coin was not thine to lay hands upon." "Lo, there it is," I did murmur, a semblance of a smile gracing my visage. "This matter doth not concern mere appearances. It is the legacy that doth weigh heavy." My mother's lips did press together in a thin line. "We had hoped to employ a portion for the restoration. Thy grandmother would have desired the kin to revel in it as one." "Dost thou mean as she did relish the coldness bestowed upon her by thee in her time of ailment?" I inquired, my tone now sharp as a dagger. "Or how she was compelled to take refuge with a friend, for thou didst not wish to contend with her regimen of potions." My mother recoiled, taken aback by such revelation, yet I was not yet done. She altered the testament, for she perceived what I could not. "That thou dost appear solely when there be spoils to claim. Not to lend thy hand in support, nor to offer words of encouragement, but merely to seize what remains." Lo! Gary's arms did uncross, and he advanced once more, his voice a tempest of low and seething ire. "Dost thou believe thyself so virtuous, prithee? Forsooth, because thou possessest a degree of fine distinction, thou thinkest thyself above us all." I met his gaze with unwavering resolve. "Nay, I perceive thee now in thy true light, and I shall no longer feign that thou art aught but what thou hast revealed thyself to be." My mother's voice did tremble. "Adam, I beseech thee." "Thou art still our son," quoth she. "A jest indeed," I replied, mine arms crossed in defiance. "For but a fortnight past, thou didst declare I was but a pretender to the noble art of healing, yet now, with no coin to be had, I am deemed worthy of thy presence." She did part her lips, yet no utterance escaped, only the weight of guilt, perchance a touch of shame. In her gaze, a fleeting spark did dance, yet it lingered not long enough to bear weight. I withdrew, drawing the door to a half-closed embrace. "Thou didst traverse the vast expanse for this," I uttered gently, "yet thou couldst not traverse a stage for my sake. That imparts all I require to discern." She advanced a step, as if to press the door ajar, yet stayed her hand. Her voice did issue forth, but in a manner most diminutive. "Shall we not embark anew upon this venture?" With a moment's breath, I did declare, "We have already ventured forth. I commenced this journey in thy absence, and I did shut the portal behind me. I did not shed a tear. I too did not bestow a smile upon the world. There I remained, ensconced in the stillness that lay beyond, until at last their footsteps dwindled and vanished into the distant corridor. Yet the tempest of consequence did not cease there, verily. Swiftly did the tidings spread amongst the kin. Mine aunt didst impart her words to her sisters, who in turn did relay them unto their lords, who then conveyed the tidings to my cousins. Some dost deem me a genius. Some do brand me as unkind. Mine cousin Drew did send a missive to mine device. Thou hast done that which we all yearn to possess the courage to enact. Yet not all did stand in my favor. There existed gatherings of discourse, where voices did intertwine. From the realm of Facebook, I have been cast away, my words silenced in the digital ether. In sooth, I found myself unbidden from the annals of my mother's kin, those who held no fondness for the matriarch, now behaving as though I had plundered a hallowed treasury of our lineage. From an uncle, long silent for 5 years, a missive did arrive, bearing the words, "Thou shalt regret this. Blood is blood." Yet regret I did not. To mine toil I did venture forth. With great pride did I don my coat of purest white. Upon the wall I did hang my diploma, not the one dispatched to my dear mother, but a New Testament, encased in fine frame, with a likeness of myself and Marcus beneath it, both beaming with mirth, like simpletons, before the grand banner of the university. And I did persist in mine endeavors of construction. 3 years did swiftly pass. In that season I didst endure the most arduous years of mine existence as a healer in training. Endless vigils that did extend unto the span of 20 hours. Oft have I missed the joyous birth anniversaries, the festive gatherings, and the sweet embrace of slumber. Yet I did flourish. I did restore the ailing souls. I clasped the hands of those who faced the twilight and trembled in fear. In chambers of ascent, mine eyes did weep. In chambers of respite, I didst find mirth and laughter. At the hour of 3, when shadows dance and silence reigns, mine eyes beheld sights that shall haunt me evermore. And I did don the mantle of a healer, not merely in name, but in the very essence of my being. The sort of healer who doth not waver, who holds his ground with steadfast resolve, who lendeth an ear ere uttering a word, and who, when he doth speak, doth so with purpose and intent. And whilst mine own professional pursuits did flourish, so too did another matter of import. That minuscule thought, which I didst sow post-graduation, the clinic, hath transcended mere fancy and taken root in reality. With the aid of Marcus and the bounteous patrons I encountered during my residency, I did establish a modest clinic for the community, situated on the fringes of a forsaken quarter within the city. It bore not the glimmer of ostentation. 1 level, 5 chambers, 2 healers, a gentle nurse, and a desk of goodwill, yet it was ours to claim. A realm where none inquired if thou possessed assurance first. A realm where the lamps did burn long into the night, for the affliction of the folk knew not the hour of 5. In honor of my beloved grandmother, I hath bestowed upon it the name, the Evelyn Rar Wellness Center. Her likeness graced the lobby's wall, and with each passing day I entered, a sense of steadfastness enveloped me. Oft did I find my thoughts adrift, seldom turning to the kin of my blood. It was not even a matter of avoidance. It was naught but tranquillity, the sort that doth arrive when thou dost cease thy pursuit of that which was never inclined to hasten towards thee from the very beginning. Yet, lo, tranquillity oft finds itself beset by unwelcome disturbances. In the waning days of October, the missive did arrive. Subject, a gathering of kinfolk. Upon the occasion of the 75th year of life for dear Uncle Rich. The missive was dispatched to a lengthy assembly of recipients, yet it commenced with a cheerful note. Hark, good friends, I trust thou art all faring well. We embark upon a grand endeavor, crafting a most splendid affair for our dear Uncle Rich's 75th celebration, a feast of potluck delights beneath the open sky. Thou art aware of the course it doth take. Lo, I did nearly cast it into oblivion upon the page, yet mine eyes did chance upon a detail at the bottom, affixed there as if an afterthought. Pray, take heed. O Adam, we all do earnestly beseech thee to grace us with thy presence. Lo, it hath been an age since last we met. Thy mother hath expressed a longing for thy presence. It bore not the mark of my mother's hand. It was inscribed by mine own cousin Olivia, the esteemed diplomat of our kin. I did not respond. Lo, 2 days hence, a missive penned by hand did arrive at the clinic, without a mark to guide the way back. Fair script, a sight I had not beheld in many a year. Good Adam, I am aware that I am the final soul thou dost wish to hear from. Perchance I am unworthy to beseech for aught. Yet if thou canst discover within thy heart the will to attend, I would be most thankful. Let us not dwell upon yesteryears, nor engage in dispute. Merely to behold thee, merely to gaze upon my son once more. I have undergone a transformation. I do solemnly declare that I have indeed. Though the hour be late, I remain thy mother still. Dearest mother, with all my heart. She did mark love with a double stroke. Upon that word mine eyes did linger long. Then did I fold the missive, return it to its sheath, and conceal it within a drawer long untouched by my hand. The tale of yonder moment when I didst preserve the likeness of the vacant seats from the day of our graduation. Mine eyes did not behold the image. Once more, I have drawn the drawer to a close. And thus I did depart. Mine understanding doth not encompass the reason why. Perhaps it is curiosity that doth stir within, or a yearning to at last secure a door with finality. Not with a forceful hand shall it be shut, nor with haste shall it be barred, but gently, with care, let it be closed. The gathering did take place within a hall of borrowed grace. Bright orbs of mirth, modest repast, and coverings of synthetic hue. Verily, 'tis the very sort of delight that didst warm the hearts of mine kin. The lot for parking, alas, was brimming full ere I did arrive. Upon alighting from mine chariot, clad in a fine buttoned garment and trousers, I did feel the autumnal zephyr pierce the very air around me. Within those walls, a clamour did arise, with children dashing hither and thither, and mirthful voices echoing in joyous revelry. The minstrel of sound did play a raucous medley of yesteryear's tunes, whilst a careless soul had already drenched the table of offerings with a cascade of punch. Upon mine entrance, all gazes didst converge upon me. There came a pause, a shared inhalation of air, as though my presence did awaken some long-forgotten ancestral instinct within the kinfolk. Lo, a voice did murmur, "Is that Adam?" I but nodded in courteous silence, and made my way toward the rear wall. I did not arrive for trifles of discourse. I didst arrive to discern if aught might be salvaged from this plight. Then mine eyes beheld her, my mother. She appeared more aged, with a gentler countenance, less meticulously arranged than my memory held. Her tresses bore strands of silver, and she donned a pale blue cardigan over a gown that seemed ill-fitted. Her gaze did fix upon mine, as though she feared I might dissolve into the ether. "Adam," she did softly utter. "Hail," quoth I. She did advance a step hence. "Thou hast arrived." "Indeed, I have." Instantly, tears did spring forth, as though she had held them captive for 3 long years. I knew not whether thou wouldst even unseal the missive. I pondered, I lingered for an apology, for acknowledgment, for something beyond mere remorse. Yet, she didst extend her hand towards mine. "Thou hast been sorely missed." I did softly retreat. "Thou hast let slip the moment to appear when it was of utmost import." She did startle. "I come not hither to engage in strife. I have made an addition. I did but long to be seen by thee, not born of malice. Pray, take heed that I fare well in thine absence of aid. Deprived of the coin thou didst anticipate, bereft of the very things thou believed I required thee for. A moment's respite." She cast her gaze downward. "That which I am owed, I do rightly claim." I did declare it thus, simply. "Thou hast done so." Then did I bestow upon her a modest envelope. Within lay a folded pamphlet, the Evelyn R. In a sanctuary of wellness, there lay a missive penned by hand, which read, Shouldst thou ever desire to fathom the edifice I have wrought and the reason I cease to linger in hope of thy pride. With trembling hands, she did take it forth. I did not tarry. Forsooth, I lingered in the presence of Uncle Rich, long enough to dispel the shadows of concealment, to demonstrate that I had taken root in their absence, that from the profound silence they bequeathed unto me, I had wrought a creation of mine own. As I didst tread upon the path to mine chariot, a voice didst call forth from behind me. Lo, it was Marcus. Him I did not bid to come. Lo, he hath but appeared. He did declare that I ought not to confront them in solitude. He didst raise a cup of brew from our cherished haunt, and spake, I deemed thou wouldst desire a farewell draught. A laugh escaped my lips for the first time that day. Come, let us depart, quoth I. In the morn, I must attend to my duties at the clinic. As we departed, I cast a final glance into the rear-view mirror. Mine own mother did stand at the threshold of the hall, a pamphlet clasped to her breast, her gaze fixed upon the carriage as it vanished down the winding path. She did not extend her hand in greeting. Neither did I, for certain conclusions require not the balm of closure, but rather the gentle embrace of peace. At last, I did possess mine own.